Hello and welcome to another video on the Scolia home auto scoring system. Previously we've done a video on some of the local games that you can play, and it was really around the sort of X01, so 301, 501, or whatever 01 you wish. So to continue that series of Scolia games, we're going to have a look at another game this time, and the focus for this one is going to be around the board or around the clock. So again, when you log into Scolia, very simple, you click into the local game and then you select the game type. Now you can see on my screen it says ATC, around the clock. If you are using a different screen, such as an iPad, which might have a different sort of screen size, you may see say around the clock or around the and cut off some of the wording. But again, it is simply basically hitting the numbers in a particular order, and you'll see from the configuration here there are a few options you've got in terms of playing around the clock. So again, I'm not really going to play this game as such, but really just talk through the configuration, and if I get a chance I'll just probably pause it and throw some darts at the board just so you can see what it looks like. But anyway, so first of all, select the game type, and then secondly, it's the configuration of the game. So you've got a few options here in how you play this. Now you can go for the traditional, just hit the singles around the clock or around the board. So that is just obviously your big sections. But if you wanted to be a bit more specialist and a bit more, as I say, practice on some of the more difficult sectors, then you can change the option to doubles, which of course means the outer sections of the board to hit the doubles, and the trebles, which are the inside. So obviously the ones that score you great points during a wonderful game of darts. So again, choose between singles, doubles, or trebles. And then you have some options around the order of how you go around the board during this game of around the clock. So you can go obviously straightforward, single game 1 to 20, double game 1 to 20, treble game 1 to 20. So that would mean obviously if you're playing singles, you just go around the board 1 to 20. If you're doing it with the doubles, then it'd be double 1, double 2, double 3, and so forth. And obviously with trebles, treble 1, treble 2, and so forth. The other option is, rather than go up the board, you can go back down, so 20 to 1. Or you can go for a random section. So if you go 20 to 1, let me just quickly start the game and see if it starts off with the ball. So yes, it can start off with the ball as your first shot. So, and then you go into single 20. So it isn't just starting from the number 20. And let me just go back into the new game. So yes, that's the option, 1 to 20 finishing on the ball, or 20 to 1 starting with the ball. The third option you've got there is quite nice. It's random, so that will just pick random numbers throughout the game. So you could be starting at 1, but your next throw might be 3, could be 7, could be 10. Not always necessarily going to be 2. So a few options there in terms of the configuration. And if you've got a preferred configuration, it looks like there's an additional little feature there to save a new preset, and that should perhaps hold that for you. So if you prefer to always go with doubles, 20 to 1, save that off, and then that's going to keep that for you as well. If you prefer singles, random, update, and there you go. So it looks like you've got some options to do different presets as well. So we can see here, and that's a nice little feature that is. So let me just bounce out something new I've just noticed. Going to local game, and if I go around the clock, you can see that there's a new feature which I was unaware of, as I haven't been on the dartboard for a few weeks, which is putting some presets in. So with these presets, it looks like you can select your preferred games rather than keep on configuring. So that's a really nice touch, that is. So I can obviously, with around the clock, I can say, well, I want singles 1 to 20. I'm going to update that one, and that's always going to be with a couple of players. Or if I want a singles 1 to 20, but it's just going to be myself, for example, if I update that, and there's my little configurations. So if you do have preferred games with friends and family members, you can save these presets, and it looks like that's been added to the other games as well, which is great. So if you've got, as I say, some different games you like to do in 301 and 501, then you can set those up. Okay, back to around the clock. So we've got the configure game and we've got the presets that we can save for our preferred games. And then finally, it's a case of adding players. And you will see here that you've got a couple of players here, and you can add up to 4 again. It looks like with this bit here, you can move them around to change the order of who plays first. I believe that's a new feature as well. I haven't seen that one before. So that's a good little option. That keeps on swapping around. Let me just try something. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so I was just making sure because it was losing the configuration, kept on going 2, 3, etc. So if you've got people's names here in, it will put them in the right order. And again, you can have a bot involved in the match, and you can choose which level bot you're going to play against, or we just remove them off and have it for yourself. So as I say, a couple of options there in terms of how you play the game. And then when you want to join the game, it's a simple case of clicking start game, and then that brings you up the board. So you can see in this particular game here, I've got a game of singles 1 to 20, and it just starts us both on 1, and we can see the next targets 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so forth. If I jump out and leave that game, and let's do a new game, and we'll do singles of around the clock. We'll do it random, and this time we'll do it for just myself. And if I click on start game, you can see now that it's giving me my current target, which is a single 18. The next one on the board is single 12, single 13, single 15, and so forth. So we can see at the board here as well, we have a picture of that, and it will flash where you need to be hitting your darts. We'll see that there's some metrics here as well, so you count how many throws you're having, how many throws you're having at a particular number, your hit rate. So obviously if it's took you 1 go to hit single 18, that'll be 100%. If it takes you 10 goes, then that'll drop down to 10%. And then the medium here, or I say medium, it actually stands for mean Euclidean distance. So this is an interesting statistic. I'm still trying to get my head around this a little bit, but just to give you what my understanding is, although I don't quite fully understand the calculations, because when I got my tape measure it didn't quite add up. But I suppose if it gives you a rough guide, can't be a bad thing. So the mean Euclidean distance is a case of taking a section of the dartboard. So when you're looking at the treble, it's looking at the, and we'll say, let's say this is a treble 20, it's taking the center of that sector on the dartboard, and that is the aiming point. So this is where the measurement is going to show and measure your throws in order to sort of get a feel for where you are in terms of your aim. So that's your aiming point. And then if you have 3 throws at the dartboard, so you can see your throw position here, your throw position here, and your throw position here. These are captured by the coordinates, and then it's going to do the MHD, which is the mean horizontal distance, and it's also going to do the mean vertical distance, so the MHD and the MVD. So you can see from the center of this point, this throw here, the average comes to the center there from a horizontal coordinate, and from a vertical one, it goes from the point up to the top there. The average length then is the green line. So this is the calculation from your throwing point to your aiming point, and that's going to give you a return on your MED, which could be 33 mil to 48 mil to whatever. but I would assume that the lower the millimeter MED, the better your aim is towards what you're throwing for. So hopefully, as I say, that gives you a bit of an understanding. As I say, I'm still working on that and still trying to get the calculations correct, but again, it's a nice little feature and should give you some idea about whether you're throwing too much to the left, to the right, too high, too low. So let me just pause this video and I'm going to throw a few darts at the board, so we'll get some metrics, some data into the system, and then we'll leave the game and have a look at the final form. Okay, so I've thrown a few darts at the board. I made a big error on the first one. I hit 18, but for some reason I thought I had to get treble 18, so I threw again at the same number, which obviously skewed my stats. But nevertheless, it's put some data into the system. And the reason why I was pausing the video is because I'm on my computer here at the moment, and the dartboard is in the other room. So let me throw a few more. 7, 6, and 2. Okay, ball. Let's go for that one. Okay, 25 counts as a ball. I've lost 2, 4, and 5. Through the ones a bit further out. Okay, so just another confirmation there as well is the ball. It doesn't matter if it's a 25 or the ball that will score. But we've got some statistics in there, so I'm just going to end the game now. We'll leave the game, abort the game, and then we can see some statistics here as well. So again, you've got your raw coordinates here on the right hand side. So you've got a dartboard, and you can see obviously the board with the various throws that we've had. So we can see from the left hand side when we started off, we've got throws versus number of hits. So we can see in the first one we've got a 1, second one we hit 2, third one we hit 3. So the third throw, which is my dime dart, you can see I hit all three numbers, which was good scoring. Second one I hit 2 there, or 1 actually, and then 2 out of 3 here, and then it just plateaued out. So the graph, as I say, shows you how many times you throw, and it's obviously giving you a count with how many times you hit your target. So nice little metric there. We can see that I started off a little bit slow and then got myself fairly decent this bit, and then I plateaued out. Again, it's only for demo purposes. And then at the top we've got some more metrics, and we can see that I've had 18 throws in total. I've had a 50% hit rate, so which is fairly decent for my standards. Means that I hit half of my intended shots. And then it gives us a the mean Euclidean and the horizontal and the verticals. So we can see there it's given us a bit of a average there. It's also shown us how many throws we had on one target, so it took me 5 on one of them, and the fewest throws on one was just 1 shot, 2 throws per hit. What is nice about this statistic board is we can click into some of these and we can have a look at the stats per sector. So if I click on the bullseye, for example, there, and we get some stats there from the ball. And if I click on the 18, you can see that it does change per sector. So this is, as I said, this is a bit of a work in progress for me, because I need to now work out what these actually mean. So if I click on the 19 here, we can see here that I've got nothing there, so that must have been a perfect shot, I'm going to assume. And if we look at the 17, just slightly south of the center there, so let's have a quick measurement there. So we can see the horizontal just slightly off, and then the distance from there, not a million miles out. And then again, if we look at this number 2 here, I'm guessing the MHD is going to be a little bit higher than the 4, and the MVD is going to be a lot further out as well. Oh, okay, maybe not the MVD, but nevertheless, these are the kind of statistics that you're going to get out of the system, and I just wanted to just give you a bit of a feel for what around the clock looks like in the Scolia home. Couple of things that I would like to see. I would like the idea of just having a little bit more random options in the around the clock. For example, I think I would like the concept of a mix of singles, doubles and trebles. So it could still be 1 to 20, but it could be single 1, double 2, double 3, treble 4, etc, etc. So I think that would be quite a nice little add-on to there, and it might be something I recommend to the guys at Scolia. But that's my overview of around the clock, or around the board, and this brings this video to a close, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next video. Bye for now.